Hello everybody, Dave Neal back here with Bachelor Nation News. This story was brought to my attention late last week. I couldn't report on it as I was traveling and didn't have my full media set up, but we are here to talk about the Bachelorette's PJ sharing a heartbreaking story of his little brother's death. A horrifying sort of nightmare story for any parents and for a brother for PJ having to deal with. He is a firefighter. We'll do a brief update on PJ right here. Bachelor biography. He's a natural caretaker, loves his job as a firefighter, and is someone who wants to make sure that the people he loves are always happy, protected, and healthy. PJ was not given a rose last week, but his story was told on Bachelor Nation's podcast, Talking It Out with Bachelor Nation. And I wanted to play this clip for you guys. I encourage everyone to listen to the full podcast episode and hear his story. I'd love if PJ's interested to have him on Bachelor in Paradise, just to keep on getting him to share his message. Clearly he wasn't right for Michelle, as he didn't make it that far, but he seems like a really great guy and one who could benefit from having a platform that is doing good, positive change. I'll get into the foundation that is set up in his brother's name after playing this clip. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, please. I've got a package here. At 50,000 subscribers, I am going to open it. Hip, hip, hooray to 50K. Thank you so much, Jen. I'm going to be sharing that until we get to 50. So keep checking that and making sure you follow along. We have tons of other content coming your way, including an update on the Madison Pruitt video I made yesterday. I pissed off a lot of people. I want to get more specific with my video and own my words. And I want to redo. I want to mulligan. So let's get into this video right here. And again, trigger warning would be, we have the little trigger warning thing here. I'm trying to get better at using it. The trigger warning of this video, I guess, would be the fact that they're talking about murder. They're talking about, let's see, let me get the trigger up here. I'm trying to get the trigger up. Hold on, folks. That's not it. There it is. Trigger warning, folks. Trigger warning right there. There it is. The contents of this video, the trigger warning would be about dealing with murder and racial issues as it exists on, in a story that's horrifying to say the least. Playing it right now. Please deal with the lagging. The audio should be fine here, but we're working on it.
In light of the family, he was always the one to do something crazy, or the one to. If my parents said do this, he was gonna go the other way and do his own thing. He was definitely an individual, and he was in a good way though. He was thought outside the box. Things like that. He was he graduated from Arizona School. This is 2017. We went for the graduation.
Talking about his brother.
Started this whole time he was working on a clothing line, athleisure wear line. So he went to Greece with a couple of his frat brothers. They went out there. One of them being from. They went. He was going to shoot some pictures after the graduation, kind of launch the clothing line, things like that, hang out. Just to celebrate. And so they were out there in Greece, and it was the last night. They went to a bar, and it was like, from my understanding, it was an area kind of like, well, you're familiar with Texas, kind of like South Padre, like a party island type deal. And there was a bar, it was like a Serbian bar or something like that they went to. And I guess there was an altercation. He took a selfie with with one of the bottle girls, and a guy there didn't like it. So they had a little altercation inside, and they were outside afterwards, and then he got separated, and the guy went back in. Some more guys came out, and they jumped him outside, kind of chased him and jumped him, and he ended up losing his life out there like that. So it was just a big, I don't know if it was a American thing, a race thing, but it was just, it was really unfortunate the way that went down. So he ended up that was summer 17 when that happened.
Was there any justice served? Like, was your family ever able to find out who did it? I mean, did they catch the guy? Yeah,
so they got the guys. There was 10 of them, and they had them detained for a while. There's 10 guys. I think 8 of them are still detained, I believe. I don't want to give you the wrong numbers, but there was a trial in that was the fall of 17. We went to Greece for the trial, and it's just the verdicts we got were. They weren't really representative of the crime at all. And the prosecutor was, he's like, I've been doing this, so many years, and I've never seen such, misrepresentation of justice. So he pressed for a retrial in the higher court, and we got that. And so that's a good thing. But COVID kind of pushed everything back. And so right now it's looking like the retrial will be in February. So hopefully.
Man, so, all our prayers, warriors out there, definitely
Appreciate
praying
that.
for your family, praying for your brother.
real.
You said, what, if I may ask, what was the verdict of the first trial for those individuals?
The verdict was, so they don't do like we do. They don't do. There's no death, no life sentence, anything like that. I think the max is like 20 or 30 years. But there were a couple of guys that they were able to remove from the process, just because of the way their judicial system works, and kind of say, well, where here would be, if whether you did, whether you tricked the guy or whether you just, pushed him one time, if you were involved, it's all part of the murder. But over there, it's kind of like they were able to pick and choose what certain people did per se, and kind of give them much lesser charges.
So you're saying out of the 10 individuals, 10 people
10, yeah.
that jumped your one brother,
Yes, sir.
they got different charges based on
Based on their exactly, yeah,
Their version of the story, basically.
Right, basically. So it was a high, highly populated area, kind of. It was like there's a bunch of cameras and things like that on the sides of buildings. So I think they pieced together what they were able to see from the cameras and like witness accounts and things like that. And then the guys had different representation. Their lawyers would be like, my client only did this, or my client only threw a punt, type deal. And they were able to try to separate them instead of charging them all as a combined unit for what happened.
Wow. Pretty wild story, folks. Again, horrifying to think that, I'm assuming his first trip to Greece was at the trial for those that murdered his brother. Again, 10 people jumped them, just found this story. This is one of those things, you might have heard the story, it might have been in some national news, but it slipped by my radar 4 years ago. There was a GoFundMe for it, and obviously a guy who's just graduating college, about to start the rest of his life, and tragically ended right there. Here's the GoFundMe. Boy, I mean, you'd like to see this GoFundMe back open and get some love from Bachelor Nation. There is a way that you can support the cause of the family, and I'll share that in a second. 8 arrested after fight, possibly over a photo. And what's wild is it's a 32-year-old British bouncer of Serbian origin. So they said Serbian, but he's British. And a Greek barman. So a bartender from Greece, 34, and a 32-year-old bouncer have been charged with the murder. So I'm assuming the bouncer and bartender, for whatever reason, while a fight was breaking out, threw him out. Again, I can't make any of these assumptions, but eight were arrested, different varying lengths, and I believe they said are still in jail. But how horrifying to have this happen in another country. It almost makes you, reminds you of Amanda Knox, of course, accused of murder. After 7 to 9 years of fighting it in multiple different trials, she was finally acquitted of murder in the Italian, and again, apologies if I get this wrong, but in the Italian Supreme Court, they acquitted her of this murder charge. But it was like, again, there's obviously some countries have good systems that are going to fight fair, and some don't. And I don't know what they are. I don't know what the judicial system is like in Greece, but it sounds horrifying. Birthplace of democracy, right? Horrifying to think that he could come in and he goes, I don't know if it was because I was American or if it's because I was black. And, you can't separate what it actually was, and you can't ever know. But by all means, just a truly, truly horrifying story told by PJ. Now, this story has been out in the Bachelor sphere for several months now. So 3 months ago, this was posted, and it's just to reiterate the comments from people. So horrible. Justice needs to be served. A good reminder that violent racism leaves no corner of the world untouched. This is horrific. My heart goes out to PJ and his family. The article doesn't really go into it, but did they beat him because he was a black man taking a selfie with a white woman? And then from a different article, someone pulled this up. Henderson visited a bar on the Greek island of Zakynthos, where he posed for a selfie with a female bar employee. A man standing near the two took offense and questioned the woman about why she was talking to a black man, a bartender told authorities. Surveillance video shows a member of a group slamming a bottle onto a table before hitting Henderson in the head. Henderson hit back, driving the man backward. Video from outside of the bar showed Henderson fleeing before getting shoved against a parked car by a man in the group. While on the ground, Henderson was punched and kicked repeatedly. Authorities say he died within 30 seconds. Horrifying, folks. You know, excuse me. You look at these stories and you go, what even begins to be the sort of thing here that you can find that's the justice, the hope, and it's PJ. He's living his brother's legacy here. So here's PJ's Instagram. Encourage everyone. First of all, I hate Instagrams that use like the E3 in front of the E's. TH3_MAY0R. I guess that's another no. The mayor. Give it up for PJ, folks. Of course, he was gone too soon from Michelle's season, but wouldn't it be nice if his following was able to get to a point where he's able to share his message that he's got out there? So anyway, give him a follow, and of course, on behalf of his brother, they have founded the Bakari Foundation, TBF. TBF provides transformative travel experiences, counseling, and related services for families who have lost loved ones at the hands of another. And again, it's one of those things, you don't raise a child, I could imagine, and expect that you have to create a foundation for what is a senseless crime. And again, we look at these issues because somebody who looks like me probably doesn't get pulled out of a bar in Greece and beaten to death. That probably doesn't happen. Whereas someone who's, like they said, racism does exist on all corners of our earth. And how do you overcome that? It's kind of hard to say. It's kind of, obviously, it's something that's so ingrained in so many different cultures. And this isn't an issue that in the States, this happened in Greece. But, to not let someone else's own bigotry, their own fears, their own shortcomings, to not let them dictate the way you lead your life is kind of the only way to do it, and to march on and move above all of that. I sound so juvenile even trying to offer any sort of any ways to find a positive in this story. So Bakari Luxury Sportswear _ Unity through love, health, and happiness, a pain to passion love mission. Athleisure luxury brand with a purpose. Percentage of sales go to the Bakari Foundation, TBF. And of course, this was the sportswear company that Bakari was going to take his photo shoot for in Greece before he was brutally murdered. So, if anyone wants to support what they're doing in the message that PJ is sharing, I suggest trying to support the brand, Bakari Luxury Sportswear. At the very least, their Instagrams. Leave them positive comments. Stay in touch with whatever they've got going on. And if there's any other information about this story as it comes out, I'd love to report it. Again, this is one of those stories. Unfortunately, I can make a story all day long about a Madison Pruitt. It'll get 50,000 views. I can make a story about a Jed Wyatt. It'll get 50,000 views. Colton and all these other people that we love to talk about within Bachelor Nation. But when you look at this video and see that it was released on Bachelor Nation's podcast on their station with 200,000 subscribers, and it has 3,700 views. It just goes to show, I understand PJ wasn't a household name within the Bachelor Nation, but I do ask people to not always consider popularity contests, but look at who's got a good message and how can we help them share that. And cheers to PJ and his family for sharing a message of overcoming such tragic circumstance. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment. More videos coming your way. Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.